Good evening. I'm Christina Cabrera, C-A-B as in boy, R-E-R-A, Executive Director of Environmental Justice League of Rhode Island. I'm here to say that we are against this LNG facility and against the variance. I will try not to repeat some of the things, but it is obviously a racial environmental injustice and inequality issue. Like this cannot take any more. Hazardous expansion, hazardous sites are not grandfathered for further expansion, and this needs to be considered. And also, we're considering the hardships of a fossil fuel entity, and we're not considering the hardships of an entire neighborhood, an entire community, low-income neighbors, and people of color. It is outrageous. The Environmental Justice League is currently studying the sites surrounding the Port of Providence and the Port of Providence itself. And as Ray Watson mentioned, it is historically Indian land, and also after generations there is a whole cultural history of the Black community and most recently the Latino community. So when you are considering the impact of installing these kinds of facilities, you cannot only consider one of the dimensions, a very limited economic dimension, which we should talk about, because this facility, according to National Grid on its website, they state that it's really maybe going to help to cover 4 to 9 days of the year where the heating is for homes is not covered, which actually it is when there is a deficit of gas, it is covered by the current LNG on site. So the use of this facility is not for Rhode Island users. $100 million. That is not for Rhode Island users, but it is for export and for profit of a corporate entity. This is economic inequality. This math does not add up. This does only take into consideration a certain part of the population, which I am ashamed to say that I, owning a business in Rhode Island previously, I'm ashamed to hear that the Chamber of Commerce is supporting this kind of project. We have talked about potential disasters. They're real, they're not imaginative. And if flood or hurricanes or sea level rise happen, the lowlands will be flooded and there will be no access to respond with emergency crews to this plant and to this facility. And so, yes, you're talking, National Grid is talking about using technology to prevent, to drain the pipes. But if the accident happens, which has already happened in local pipes, it is going to be too late, and it's not going to be reachable because of the surrounding areas being so low and close to the water. This should be considered a huge risk factor. We should also consider the cumulative impact that this facility has. Should there be a spill or an explosion, we have these chemical plants nearby that would multiply the impact and the destruction that the Port of Providence will have, especially considering that there is within 1.5 miles the biggest hospital, Rhode Island Hospital, which would be treating all the emergencies that would fall into the disaster zone and would not be able to respond. So if anybody in their right mind thinks that creating this bomb in the middle of a dense neighborhood with the emergency response crews and hospital right there, it makes sense, is quite really baffling. I urge you to really use common sense and to stop this project. Thank you.